Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today, right now, I don't have a whiskey sitting up here because let's do a little behind the scenes. This is how complex it is for me. I stare at the whiskeys. Normally, I have a pile of whiskeys here just like this that, I go, okay, these are the ones that I haven't reviewed yet that I've recently purchased or whatever. And the thought process that goes into which whiskey I'm going to review goes something like this. Anything with peat is the last, or I'll only do two in a row of the peated whiskeys, because if it's peated, it's going to blow out my palate. So if it's not peated and I drink it after a peated whiskey, I'm not going to be able to taste as much in it. If I drink two peated whiskeys back to back, the second one, the peat from the first one, I'll already become used to it, and I'll have, or acclimated to it. That's the word I'm looking for. I'll be acclimated to that peat, and so the second one will not taste as peaty to me, no matter how much smoke is in that glass. If I get any, I'll get just a little bit, but I'll get all those sweet, delicious notes that are behind that peat in the second one. And so I put the peated whiskeys at the end, and I'll only do two kind of back to back to give everybody the best fair shake I can. So here's what we got. We got the Glenkinchie 12, which this is a lowland Scotch, I believe. We have the Torbeg Alt Glean. I'm probably slaughtering all these Gaelic names, and if you're Scottish, I'm sorry. But this is from the Isle of Skye, so same place as Talisker. Speaking of Talisker, I have a Talisker 10 that I finally broke down and bought. Because oddly enough, Talisker 10 seems to be fairly expensive everywhere I go. I actually managed to get a distiller's edition for $66, which is cheaper than this 10. And then the Storm I've been able to pick up between $38 or $39 and $42, also fairly cheap. My wife was so kind as to find the Ardcore Ardbeg here. And this is the punctured edition, which is why it looks like this is punk rock, kind of, which, is funny because punk rock doesn't really exist anymore. But so we have that Ardbeg. And then I purchased online with my Blackwell's purchase. I was finally able to find an Anoa and bought that because that was kind of the last Ardbeg that I needed to round out my collection of my Ardbegs that are kind of mainstay lines, such as the Udall and the Corey Reckon and the Ardbeg 10, the Ardbeg 5. So we have those. So these are all our peated whiskeys. Or we can end it with this Taiwanese whiskey, this Kavalan, which this is a cask strength, ringing in at 54.8%. So I believe, let's finish with a peated whiskey. We'll just finish with this Glenkinchie 12. My wife and I saw this. We were out shopping on our anniversary, saw this, and we're like, hey, never heard of that. Let's check it out. Let's buy it. So, the Glenkinchie 12 let's see, Glenkinchie naturally makes a dry, refined character born just 20 miles from Scotland's capital, naturally makes Glenkinchie the Edinburgh malt. So there you go. Let's see, crisp and focused with a herbal dry finish. This is an ideal aperitif and partner to smoked fish, sushi, or scallops. Let's see, rolling barley fields, yada yada. The south of Talisker on the far. Let's have it. Whether it's Glenkinchie amid the rolling barley fields of the south. Okay, so it's southern, so it makes it a lowland. Okay, that's talking about something else, yada yada. Highland, Sky, Speyside, Delany. Pretty sure this is a Lowland. Then Edinburgh Malt, Glenkinchie Distillery. Whatever. Okay, so there you go. So now you just saw how I pick a whiskey and also the amount of research that I do going into this. 12 years old, 43%, 86 proof. Pretty sure this is a Lowland. So it said the South. You look at how Scotland is broke apart. Actually, I have a video on it. You can look at my video. I have a map of Scotland and the different Scotch regions of Scotland. You have the Highland, you have Speyside, Highlands, Islas, Lowlands, and Campbelltown. Of course, that's opposite of all those things when you look at it. You're looking at Scotland, you have the Islas off the west coast. At the top, you have Speyside, and Speysides can be considered either Highlands or Speysides. They get to decide. Campbelltown's down on the peninsula, Lowlands, in the south of Scotland. And the thing about Lowlands, I've only had two. This is the second Lowland I've ever had. The first one was my McLellan's Lowland. So I've had McLellan's or McLeland's. I don't know how you pronounce it. They're Highlands, they're Lowlands, and they're Isla. All three were fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the Isla. As you know, I buy it in 175s for $38. Totally worth it. It may only be 3 years old, but it's delicious. But their Lowland was really, really good, and that was my first Lowland Scotch experience, and was quite happy with it. What I did note about that was that it, even though it was peated, it comes through in a very different manner. It's not nearly as smoky, and the earthiness is a completely different sensation as far as what type of earthiness it brings to it. It's a different smell and a different taste, and I think that's what we're going to get out of this as well. So we'll dive into it. We'll see what we get. On the nose, I get a very heavy butterscotch. A little bit of earthiness, a little bit of that peat, no smoke. But it earthy peatiness, that swampiness. That's what I get out of it. Bog, swampy, boggy, however you want to talk about it. That's what I get mixed with that butterscotch. And those are two distinct and equally parted into the nose. On the taste, again, this is a 12-year. You can see the color, pretty honeyed. Looks kind of like an amber beer. On the taste, you get smoke, which I didn't get in the glass. It's wood campfire smoke, which to me, that Lowland definitely brings the wood smoke impact. And then the earthiness, the peatiness that goes into that as well is more swampy and boggy, more seaweedy, scummy, algae type of a taste. Less, if not none, of the salty, briny, seaside, seaweedy type ocean spray. None of those flavors really kind of coming through too much. It's more swampy, earthy. Definitely in the glass, it smells that way. Do a second sip right away because I was talking more than explaining the actual flavors. So butterscotch hits home right away. Dry white wood smoke, earthiness, honey, and a little bit of ethanol at the end, kind of drying out your tongue. Very nice. Kind of in that medium to moderately simplistic flavor profile. There's like maybe 4 or 5 notes. Nothing really dense and oily and clingy. The sweet flavors are there in the finish, and then after the lingering finish, you get a lot of nice sweet notes kind of setting on your tongue as your tongue's drying out, like a dry wine finish kind of a feeling on your tongue. I would say this is an extremely well balanced, Very easy drinking peated whiskey. The smoke is not dominating by any stretch of the imagination. It's a very nice layer. It was for me again. It was only there in the first sip. My second sip, I got no smoke, hardly at all. I did say smoke because it just kind of ran through quick. If I have to guess, my third sip, there will be no smoke at all because get acclimated to it really quick, and all those sweet notes come through after that for me. Um, yeah, just very well put together. As far as I know, like I said, this is only my second Lowland. Big fan of Lowlands too, as long as they're peated. Picked this up for. Oh, let's see here. Gotta find where it is. Let's see. Glenkinchie. So I have everything listed out by distillery, by who owns the distillery. So Glenkinchie is owned by Diageo. It's a lowland, and I paid $62. Okay, so $62. Would love to see this in the 50s or 40s, especially for a distillery I'm unfamiliar with. But it is a 12-year. It's sitting right in there with all the other scotches, and we did pick this up on our travels from a place that, for instance, this is how I judge where I'm buying my whiskeys, right? So our local truck stop here actually has the best prices in town. Unfortunately, it's because they're a big truck stop, and so a big chain of truck stops. So they get big, large distribution contracts, and so they're able to get stuff for very reasonable prices. Unfortunately, it's quite a bit cheaper than all the other local mom and pop liquor stores in town. But for a guy on a budget, it's just hard to beat that. And so when I go into another state, another city, whatever, I look at a couple of different whiskeys that I have in my head what the prices are out at that truck stop. Because even though that's the cheapest place in town, I know that that is not always like MSRP or something like that. Like they're still making a profit on that, and I know I've picked up bottles cheaper than I can find it here locally in other places. So the first one is Monkey Shoulder. 2 years ago it was running like 25 and change or 26 and change. We're up to 27, so again, just a dollar here, dollar there. Prices on whiskeys are going up. Most other liquor stores here in town, it's somewhere around 30 to 36. I think I've seen it as high as $40 across different states. But that's a really good one to know your prices on, and how much that markup is on that. Another really good one is the McLellans because, again, everywhere, including the truck stop here in town, has it for 30 some odd dollars, any of the different varieties. And the Isla actually seems to be the more expensive in many of the stores locally. The Isla will be like 38, and the Island or Lowland might be like 32 to 34. I picked up at the Total Wine and Spirits in Wisconsin in Oak Ridge, Oak something, on the south side of Milwaukee there. I picked up McClellan's for $17, just to kind of put that all into perspective. And I can pick up down in Casper, I can pick up the 175 for $38. So there you go. There's two good price comparisons. So I'll look at that one. When it comes to bourbons, I'll look at like the Old Forester Signature 100. I can pick that for $18 and change here at the truck stop. I've seen it for 20, 30, $40 in different places. Some of your mainstays like your Wild Turkey 101, Woodford Reserve, a really good telling one. Most people don't have Weller or some of the allocated Buffalo Trace ones here locally. So if you go back, watch my review, I had Blanton's this year. They had Blanton's. They had it for $48. The whiskey's not all that great. I wouldn't pay a ton of money for it, but I mean, some of the blends are going for hundreds of dollars. Right here, Weller Antique 107. I've seen for $80 to $140 locally, and what the MSRP is on it. My wife paid $47 for this. So, also the special reserve when they had it, the green label. I think I paid $23 for the last bottle that I had 2 years ago, and I've seen that, other places in the state for $40. I've seen it in other states for $80 or more. So I kind of use those markers to determine how much something's going to cost, and what the markup is on, kind of generally within a store. And the store we purchased this from, markup compared to here locally is like $5 to $10 per bottle. So all of that was a long explanation to say I could probably find this here locally if it was carried. If I could find it locally, it would probably be $10 cheaper. So probably in the $50 range, which is where I think it should be. But very long-winded. I think it's an excellent representation of what I think the Lowlands is, having not had a large variety of them, but I'm a big fan of it. It was excellent. Drop in the comments down below what you can find a bottle for in your area and whether or not you have any experience with it. It does bring a little bit of smoke, a little bit of peat, but just enough that it disappears quickly and you get a lot of sweet, enjoyable notes after that as well. So if you just want to dip your toe into smoke, this might be a good one to check out. Although keep in mind that it is very different than the way that, the Islas and the, any of the island whiskeys, we'll just say, and some of the Speyside whiskeys present that peat. So just be aware of that. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I know that was a lot of ranting in this video. Not ranting, just random. I don't know what to say. The end of the day, I just had enough whiskey, and my monologues just seem to be rambling. That's the word we're looking for, rambling. So, yeah, let me know what you think of Glenkinchie. If you've ever had an experience with it, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check us out on BitchUte if you haven't already. This video will be dropping on there sooner than it will be found on YouTube. And yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. You guys have yourselves a great day. Catch you in the next video.